Hi, I'm here to talk about the legalization of prostitution in Canada. Today, we're going to talk about four main points of discussion. The first is the prostitution and the definition and what it's all about. Two is the history of prostitution in Canada specifically. Three are the participants involved in prostitution. And four are the shocking facts. Okay, so the definition of prostitution. The definition is an individual who engages in sexual activity other than with a friend or a spouse and engage for an immediate income of any value, so such as money. Either sex may participate in the act of prostitution and engage in either heterosexual or homosexual activity. Historically, prostitution has been done by women, with men mainly as the clients, but as we can see over time that is gradually changing, and as society changes, everything changes with it. The history of prostitution in Canada. Prostitution has never been illegal in Canada, but there have been five main points that have been illegal. The first is living off the avails of prostitution, or pimping. The second is communicating in public for the act or purpose of prostitution. 3 is knowingly transporting one to another body house. 4 is owning or operating a body house. And 5 is the purchasing of sexual services from someone who is less than 18 years of age. Many of the laws, such as those 5, have been in place for more than 250 years within Canada. During World War I, there were higher rates of prostitution, commonly amongst women, because there weren't a lot of jobs for them back then, and many didn't have a lot of money, so they had to resort to, unfortunately, prostitution. But during World War II, the numbers began to decrease as jobs became more available for women working in war-related activities, such as working in factories. Debates are still continuing on today, and in the 1970s, they got rekindled a whole bunch because people were growing a huge concern for the increased number of visibility of street-based prostitution. Tons and tons of debates and protests occurred during this time, and they had the main goal of soliciting and trying to strengthen this section of the criminal code. A lot of the laws that rose from these protests, didn't suppress the public debate, and it still continues to go on today. There's still tons of controversy. It's continually being challenged because this topic is so controversial that it can, charges and stuff can continually keep being won and fought, and so there's always a huge thin line that can be defined. So it's super controversial today, and that's why everything's still up in the air. The participants that are involved in prostitution. It's common for people to think that it's mostly women, but 5% of those involved in the communication for purposes of prostitution is women, so it's only 5%. Women only represent a small portion of the population involved in the whole prostitution. This number is estimated from the ratio between the female to male sex workers and the clients that each serve every week. Most street-based workers are young, female, addicted, uneducated, usually controlled by a higher power, so pimps, and a lot of them are from backgrounds of abuse and poverty. Of the women that are involved in prostitution, many of them are from 22 to 25, and some begin their careers at the age of 16 to 20, which is super young. but the average age of entry into prostitution is 13, which is crazy. A lot of the individuals involved are single, and 30 to 70% of the women of that have children and have to support them financially, which is a huge and main reason why they're there. So the youth involved in prostitution. The number of adolescents in prostitution is continually growing every single year. There is an estimate, though it's unofficial still, there's a number that suggests a significant amount of prostitutes working on the streets are juveniles. 5% of individuals charged with prostitution are youth, and of that, 80% of them are girls. The surveys show that 70% of both male and female prostitutes begin their involvement prior to their 18th birthday. Okay, so the shocking facts on prostitution. As the debates go on today and probably for a couple more years, many of the people involved, they see themselves that it's their last choice to be in this business. A lot of them face homelessness, abuse, violence, and this is the only thing that they have, and this is their last resort. They've tried everything else and they can't. There's nothing else they can do. Many of them do have families that they need to support financially, and if they have no other income of money, then this is their only chance for survival. 84 of them were abused sexually in their childhood, so that's a huge number, 84%. Many of them do have a history of violence or face violence every single day. 91% were assaulted physically while working, and 95% of them involved want to leave and get help. So even though it's their last chance, they still want to get out. They want to get help. Like, a lot of society thinks that when prostitutes enter into prostitution and into that business, that they're asking for it. They're asking for this violence and this abuse. That's not the case. They're not asking for it. They are on their last chance of survival. They're just there for the money and to survive and to provide for their families. So, looking into the future, the Supreme Court of Canada, their decisions earlier, they decided that the previous laws put sex workers at risk in multiple ways. So they isolated the sex workers and they reduced their ability to negotiate transactions and reduced their access to indoor spaces. So what they're trying to do now is to look for better and more clear laws and to reduce the risks of the rates going up rather than down, because they keep going up, the rates of prostitution keep going up, and so they're trying to get it down, but it's such a hard thing. It's so controversial that hopefully new laws will be decided in 2016 and we can get the whole thing figured out so that the sex workers have their rights and they have human rights as people, so they get the rights they deserve, and we can work towards building a better community and a better society, not even in Canada but across the globe. Right now there's 40 million prostitutes in Canada, and not in Canada, in the world, which is bigger than Australia's population, which is 21 million, bigger than Canada's population, which is 33 million. So 40 million prostitutes. If we can work to create better laws, then we can bring that number way down and just have a better society all around. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.